Let's move on to Ron Paul and the election that was, or the caucus, I guess, that was stolen from him. We have a clip here, and we found this today. One of our listeners sent this in to us, and has Linda Wertheimer from NPR interviewing Edith Pfeffer, and she's the Republican chair of Clinton County. And this is what she had to say about all the weird happenings that went on that night. Let's go to that clip.
I had received a phone call. This is Edith. I had received a phone call about 11:20 from the Romney worker who had been working in our county, and he said he needed the count. And I said, well, why do you need the count for 2-2? And he said, well, they don't have it in Des Moines. And I said, but I know they were called in. Huh? And he said, well, I think that there was a computer glitch, that the computers went down. And I said, oh, okay. And so I gave him the requested numbers.
And so did your own precinct, did Clinton County come out the way you thought it would?
I really thought that Ron Paul was going to do a little better than he did tonight.
So as you can see, she thought Ron Paul was going to win. Yet it didn't turn out that way. Mitt Romney took that county, I think, by about a little over 200 votes. And she didn't see it that way. But when the Romney people called and got the numbers, everything seemed to work out fine. We got another article from the Red Dirt Report. Cockeyed Hawkeyes, Romney wins in Paul-friendly super caucus. Here's a different caucus in a different county. Let's see. It was Coralville, just outside Iowa City. And at the Super Caucus, Red Dirt Report covered in Coralville, Iowa, just outside Iowa City, there was not a single Romney sign visible in or around the large conference center. Yet he would go on to win, despite Ron Paul signs outnumbering the Rick Santorum and Rick Perry signs 7-1. And if you go back to the original, go back to that first graphic that actually shows the Coralville presidential straw poll results. You see Ron Paul there with twice as many as Romney had in that particular district. And then we got this long quote here. Where did Romney's support come from in Coralville? He would get 262 votes according to the Des Moines Register, and Ron Paul would get 203. Precinct 4, which we covered, overwhelmingly went to Paul, which we saw in those numbers. He got double of Romney, more than double. And there seemed to be a lot of activity going on in Precinct 6. And in Brad's blog, he put up the rules that they actually made a change to the rules right before the caucus, and it was to allow no photo ID necessary for any voter in the Republican Iowa caucus. And I guarantee you, I've heard this issue raised up many times by the Republicans about how they want to have IDs on everybody who's going to vote. So it keeps the illegals from voting and all this. But it doesn't matter in the Iowa Republican caucus. Then it doesn't matter. As many people as we can stuff through the door to vote for our two shill warmongering candidates, we're going to do that because we either want Obama in or we want Romney, or maybe, I don't think they really want Santorum or Gingrich, but I think it's going to be, this push for Romney, that he's our savior. Let's go back to that long quote at the end of it. Rick Santorum has no organization, never drew over 100 people during his entire campaign. They're talking about in Iowa. Of course, he did bribe and receive benediction of that family leader who demanded $1 million, which he would distribute in part to cronies. That family leader was Bob Vanderplaats, which leads us to an ABC article published in late December. Iowa conservative leader mired in controversy after Rick Santorum endorsement. And it goes to Santorum acknowledged in an interview with CNN that he talked with Vanderplaats. What we talked about was he needed money to promote the endorsement and that would be important to do that, Santorum told CNN. There was never a direct ask for me to go out and raise money for it. But then later in another ABC News on Monday night interview, you had Santorum's National Communications Director, Hogan Gidley, who said, I don't know about any discussions other campaigns have had, but we did not, nor would we ever agree to raise a single penny for another entity. We were focused on our own campaign, and that's where our resources were spent, although there's a lot of people going around saying that Santorum gave this guy $1 million and to buy in influence and support in this Iowa caucus. Notice this is at the end of December, and then that's about the time that Santorum started coming out of nowhere at the polls, even though he wasn't getting anybody coming out to any of his campaign forums. Let's go to the next quote. ABC News learned that Vanderplaats tried to solicit money for his for his endorsement during the last presidential cycle, too. A former staffer for Mitt Romney's 2008 presidential bid, who is currently unaffiliated with the campaign, said Vanderplatz came to them seeking money for backing if he supported the former Massachusetts governor. He wanted to be paid, the former staffer said. He was clearly looking for a paycheck. There was a conversation about him getting a title and about being a pay consultant was much more important. So you have this religious leader in Iowa who's looking for money, and then with that money, he's going to go out and get influence. And I think if you follow the money, that's where you'll see it will lead to Vanderplatz helping out Rick Santorum, especially in those rural counties where it's all done gentlemanly, like what we heard from Karl Rove last night, which we're going to play right now.
Romney is going to win the Iowa caucuses by 14 votes. How solid is your evidence?
From a pretty good, reliable source. They made the correction in Story County, which moved it from an 18-point margin for Santorum to a 4-vote margin for Santorum. Clinton County, right. You have the one outstanding precinct in the state, and that it will show an 18-vote victory in that precinct for Mitt Romney, which will give him a statewide victory of 14 votes over.
From out of nowhere, it's Rick Santorum.
So I don't understand. You're saying that they basically have come to an agreement as to what the vote's going to be in Clinton?
The person who's got the official piece of paper is missing. But the Romney and Santorum people who are monitoring it agree on what the number is. They apparently have rounded up the representatives of the camps who have agreed, yes, we were there, we know exactly what the vote total was, and we both agreed to what it was.
So the official was Edith Pfeffer. She was at her home sleeping. She had already called in the results, or so she claimed, and so she reported on NPR, yet there was a computer glitch. There you go. That's how it happens. Even though Ron Paul got third place in Iowa, he seems to be blowing out everybody else, including Barack Obama in merchandise sales. Cafe Press, which allows you to build merchandise and sell them kind of as you sell it, they make it type thing. 54% of the items sold in 2011 were Ron Paul. 18 went to President Obama, 11% went to Rick Perry, and 9% went to Mitt Romney, Mittens Romney, as they call him. And just to let you know, we offer a few T-shirts, Ron Paul T-shirts here at InfoWars. So if you want to support Ron Paul, support our operation, there you go. Pick up a Ron Paul T-shirt. Let people know out there. Let's keep putting up signs. Let's keep putting up bumper stickers. Let's keep showing people that Ron Paul is the people's candidate. He's not bought by these giant corporations that want to warmonger and tell the rest of the world what to do. So we're going to go to break. We're going to come back. We're going to show a little clip last night from Cobra Commander who visited us and a whole bunch more. We got some GlaxoSmithKline news, and then we got Alex's amazing interview with Edward T. Haslam, who wrote Dr. Mary's Monkey. It's InfoWars Nightly News. I'm your host, Rob Dew. GSK lab fined over vaccine test that killed 14 babies. And it seems like GlaxoSmithKline, because they can't test their poison on the people here in the United States, have to go to South America and dupe those people. I think they were duping people with like 28-page consent forms. I mean, ridiculous. So GlaxoSmithKline Argentina Laboratories was fined 400,000 pesos by Judge Anguski following a report issued by the National Administration of Medicine, Food, and Technology for the killing of 14 babies during illegal lab vaccine trials conducted between 2007 and 2008. The charges included experimenting with human beings, falsifying parental authorization so babies could participate in the vaccine trials conducted by the laboratory. The doctors took advantage of these many illiterate parents whom take their children for treatment by pressuring and forcing them into signing these 28-page consent forms involved in the trials. Once a picked patient arrived, it would automatically disappear, be taken somewhere, and in order to be treated by those doctors specifically recruited by GSK. These kinds of practices are not legal and occurred without any type of state control. It goes on. It is also known that in various particular cases, the doctors who had conducted these trials did not answer the calls made by worried parents after witnessing their baby's reactions to vaccines. This is a total crime that goes on repeatedly by these companies who wrap themselves with lawyers and legislation that protects them, and it's sick. And the precursor to that is the SV40 virus, which is covered in this book, and it's going to be an amazing interview coming up with Alex Jones in just a few minutes. We've got 2 more stories to go to. We're going to go to a quick break and then come back to that interview with Alex. From Natural News, woman files class action lawsuit against Frito-Lay for marketing genetically modified snacks as all natural. And this made me sick because I actually eat one of these brands. Frito-Lay is the subject of a new class action lawsuit that pegs the company for illegally marketing its snack products, which are loaded with GM ingredients, as being all natural. Represented by Milberg LLP of Los Angeles, Julie Gingo of Richmond, California, recently filed a class action lawsuit against Frito-Lay, alleging that the snack products are fraudulently labeled. Frito-Lay Sun Chips, Tostitos products are made with GM vegetable oils and potentially even GM corn, but they're both labeled as being all natural. But GMO products are not all natural ingredients and are in fact admittedly synthetic, which makes the products that any product that contains them unnatural. And that's even by their own definition. You can go to the Monsanto website. The company defines GMO on its website as food with genetic makeup altered to exhibit traits that are not naturally theirs. So they even use the term unnatural. So kudos to Julie. Hopefully they do some of that, and I will not be eating Sun Chips ever again. I'm sorry, I just can't do it. You keep learning this stuff, you keep educating yourself, and eventually you say no, you draw your line in the sand. Which leads us to our final article of the evening. Busted. Scientists leave out data to produce bogus findings. The BMJ, which is the British Medical Journal, is sounding the alarm that data reported by scientists is too often not the truth because researchers leave out inconvenient data. Kind of like the inconvenient truth with Al Gore. Turns out that this is no once-in-a-while kind of problem either. The BMJ claims a large proportion of the evidence from human trials is unreported, and much of what is reported is done so inadequately. And then it goes into a little more commentary. Big Pharma's pills and potions are often pushed based on studies that simply ignore and leave out major data about what is really discovered about a medication lacking of benefits, potential dangerous side effects, and more. And 2 additional studies show the requirements for mandatory trial registration and timely sharing of results are poorly followed, if at all. And you know why this happens? I'm going to tell you why this happens. It's because most of these studies are paid for by the drug companies. And if you're a company that's receiving money from a drug company to do different types of studies, what are you going to do if you want to keep that contract? Well, you're going to get the results that they asked for. That's how it's done in this country. It's done with money. That's how elections are stolen, like what we saw in Iowa. Go to a final bit here. We have a couple letters. Actually, these emails were on my chair this morning. And if you want to send us letters, you can email me, which is robd@infowars.com, or write us at infowars.com, P.O. Box 19549, Austin, Texas 78760. First one is from Eugene. And he says, "Hi, greetings from Israel. We listen to your show here, and also let me tell you, it is fascinating. Keep up the good work, Eugene." And a final one here from Jeff. "I am a soldier stationed overseas, and I am very grateful for everything the InfoWars staff is doing. I just want you to know there are young service members here that take their oath to the Constitution very seriously. That's a good thing to hear. We did not sign away our rights. Dissent is patriotism. Thank you for all the work that you put into bringing out the truth to the American people, and know that you have support with many of us in uniform. So please feel free to write us tips, suggestions, anything you'd like, and we'll read it on the air every once in a while as we get some in. These just happened to be on my desk this morning. Alex told me I was doing the news, so I said, well, you know what? I'm going to show a couple of these letters to the people out there, and that they do come in. And I think that was interesting. One from Israel, one from a soldier stationed overseas. InfoWarsNews.com is where you get all this information if you're watching us on YouTube right now. Please consider becoming a member. We have a 15-day free trial coming up. We got Alex Jones with Edward T. Haslam. I'm Rob Dew signing off. Thank you very much for watching.